Everybody, welcome back to the Cow's channel, where it's time for a Cow's opinion, where I go over the latest, and not this being the greatest, this sucks, but an update to our story. As you know, last week, Unity decided that they were just going to screw over every single developer they could. Let's get right into it. Thanks to our friends at Kotaku. Thank you, Alyssa, for published 7 hours ago, updated 4 hours ago, fairly recent. Now, if you haven't been paying attention, and it was a really big news story last week, Unity decided by themselves, all on their own, decided to put on their big boy pants and tell developers that, hey, starting January 1st, 2024, we are going to start charging you a fee for every person who installs our game after you've hit, depending on what volume you have, like after $200,000 in revenue and 200,000 installs. It was like the smallest one, I think. And it was going to be between 20 cents and like 12 cents, I believe. It doesn't, the particulars don't matter. It was a massive betrayal and cash grab. And they're just retroactively, hey, we're just going to change all the contracts to get more money for us. The CEO is a guy who once said that EA should charge to reload guns online. 3 of the lead board members all come from these like terrible business practices and companies that just charge stupid things. It's really, really stupid. And of course, the backlash was swift. Go watch my other video. There's all kinds of problems with it. Like if you make a free-to-play game, you could have 1 million installs but only be making $100,000, but those million installs could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars more. You could be in the hole to Unity for like years until your game finally becomes profitable. It was a really stupid thing. But Unity, the game engine used in popular titles like Cuphead, Fall Guys, and Among Us, has apologized for the confusion and angst caused by a newly announced fee. On September 12th, the company announced a lengthy post on their blog called the Runtime Fee, which is going to charge you for every installation. I'm adding a little to that, but you know. Obviously, developers reacted swiftly. There were tons of things wrong with this, including, well, if your game gets on Game Pass, don't worry, Microsoft's going to pay that charge. Have you seen Microsoft's lawyers? They're forcing the Activision Blizzard acquisition through and just humiliated the FTC in court. You think you're going to win against them? You're an idiot. But developers reacted swiftly and angrily to the announcement, pointing to a host of problems the fee might cause, from charity bundles costing developers hundreds of thousands of dollars to the potential for bad actors to review bombed games by repeatedly uninstalling and reinstalling. The reaction was wide-reaching, with the heads of major indie studios behind Cult of the Lamb and Rust lambasting the fee. Even Jeff Keighley got involved to express his displeasure. Jeff's a pretty nice guy from what I understand. If he's calling you out, you're stupid. Now, yesterday, September 17th, Unity had this on their Twitter. I'll use this one because it's all right. We have heard you. We apologize for the confusion and angst the runtime fee policy was announced on Tuesday caused. We are listening, talking to our team members, community, customers, and partners, and we're making changes to the policy. We will share an update in a couple of days. Thank you for your honest and critical feedback. A response from Keighley asking to see the changes is currently that, yeah. So, first of all, you didn't talk to your community, your customers, or your partners because all of them were blindsided. It has come out now that they did talk to team members, many of whom have resigned since this was announced or slightly before, because the people who actually make and maintain the Unity engine told them, this is dumb. This is really dumb. You're idiots. Don't do this. And this is what happens when people who are lawyers and accountants and investors who have very little experience actually, you don't have to be an expert at making or maintaining Unity to run the company, because that's not the skill set. But you need an appreciation for how your product is used and who uses it, because the team members told them in no uncertain terms, don't do this. It's a terrible idea. And they did it anyway. Because of course they did. Now, Bloomberg is reporting that though the company has not gone public with the concrete changes, it has plans to overhaul. Under the tentative new plan, Unity will impose fees to 4% of your revenue for customers making over $1 million. So you hit $1 million, you owe Unity at least $40K. No, it's not yours. When I buy a Ford pickup and I use that pickup to make deliveries, Ford does not get to come back and say, hey, you've been making a lot of money with one of our trucks. We think you owe us a couple extra dollars. No. This is honestly just really, this is them trying desperately to hold on, and it's not going to work, guys. It's not going to work. Now, again, the runtime fee that's going to go into effect next year is based on the revenue as well as the number of times. Under the Unity Personal and Unity Plus plans, the threshold is $200K a year and 200,000 lifetime installs. Pro and Enterprise hit it at $1 million annual revenue and $1 million lifetime. But developers and other industry leaders were quick to point out how difficult it is to determine how many times a game is installed, especially since keeping track of those installations will require wading into some murky privacy waters. So Unity says that they want to force developers to install basically a friendly version of malware that's going to tell them if it's a true install or not. It's not going to fly in the EU. It's going to have real problems passing the mustard in the US, not counting other areas. And also, do you want a game that's constantly spying? I don't want to install malware on my personal PC. What are you talking about? Now, Unity executive Mark Whitten has said the latest changes aren't public because executives are still running them by partners and don't want to repeat last meet's communication debacle. You think? Idiots. Now, this is not the first thing that they've said. Unity attempted to right the ship after the announcement, releasing FAQs that only worried developers more. If you recall in our video last week, I waited specifically for multiple updates because a lot of stuff was happening, and people were still upset. So at first, the company reconfirmed that multiple installs or re-downloads count towards the fee, but then later backtracked after a regroup, so they don't even know what the rules are themselves, and they're telling this to everybody. Then, Whitten assured concerned developers, games offered for charity or included in charities are exempt, but many point out that there's an unclear process to figure out how the game is going to report to Unity that it's just got installed, and it's going to be on the developers and the charity to let Unity know hey, we sold Cal a copy of this. Don't charge us for us. But yeah, the redemption is needlessly tedious. It's stupid. Unity will not also tell you how it's going to be keeping track of installs, only saying it's on proprietary software. There's a good chance that this proprietary software isn't even finalized yet, and they're using it to try to reassure you. How stupid are you? There was more clarifying comments sent on the 13th the next day, saying only 10% of developers would be affected by the new policy. That post was quickly hit with a clarification badge pointing out that meant 23,000 developers would be affected. Based on a 22 Gaming report stated that 200,000 developers used Game Engine, the post was taken down. Also, a lot of developers on the first or second games, they don't make money on the game. So literally saying, hey, most of you don't make money with our products, so don't worry about this, is not a good strategy. No! And again, who cares if only 10%, 23,000 developers is a lot of people. Even if every single one of those developers is a single-man development team, which you know is not the case, that's 23,000 people. Fleecing 10% of your customer base for money is not, well, thank God they're not doing it to 90%. Don't do it to anybody. There's also, days later, on the 14th, there was a credible death threat which closed the Unity offices. And guys, I gotta tell you about this. Everybody is so mad at Unity. The credible death threat turned out to be a Unity employee. It wasn't a developer. It wasn't someone being a butt munch online. An actual Unity employee was so angry that they gave what it was considered a credible death threat. I'm not trying to mock it or belittle it, because that's not cool, and death threats have to be taken seriously. But for the love of God, your own staff wants to kill you. It's unclear what the upcoming changes will entail, but we'll keep updating the story. So thank you, Kotaku. They reached out to Unity. Unity's not going to talk. This is a bunch of executives who I don't even know why they thought they were going to get away with this. They thought they were going to get away with this, and everyone's like, hell no. This is America, dude. When Britain tried to tax us on tea, we threw it in a river and made a new country. What do you think we're going to do to you? Seriously? Well, what do you think your own staff is doing to you, man? A credible death threat was... And I hope that guy was just really stupid, but God. So right now we have... It's been a while since I've seen a company so thoroughly come out of nowhere and shoot itself in the foot as hard as Unity has. Wizard of the Coast did this not too long ago. Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, that's what Unity's trying to say. I predict a classic tactic used in business negotiations and politics. You want 50, but your target will be incensed, angry that you're asking for it. So instead you ask for 500, you incur wrath, and then say, okay, how about 50? 50 isn't, yeah. There's a chance that this is just a really stupid PR move, but I honestly think that they thought they were going to get all this money. They called the devs angsty. They couldn't even do the old corporate apology without sliding in the accusatory BS. Yeah, they're also confused. Yeah, but they don't understand our business genius. This is really... It may no longer be relevant, but I thought the big twist in the Unity saga was it's not the developer that has to pay the runtime fee, it's distributor. They were saying that for console games it would be Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo, but isn't Steam or Epic Games Store or Google Play or the App Store, aren't they all distributors? And how do they collect from distributor? Unity. Hi, we're Unity. Yours X money from distributing these games made with our software. Distributor. Do we have a contract with you? Unity. No, but the developer does. Distributor. And we care about that. Why exactly? And here are the top responses that, yeah, the lack of a contract or even any consideration, they would really blow that idea up. I have a hard time believing they could ever get any distributor to agree to that. That's just an insanely insane thing. Yeah, no. If the CEO and board members don't lose their jobs over this, I don't know what the hell Unity is thinking. But, guys, here's the cow's opinion. Unity's done. To have a chance at earning trust back, you'd have to fire a ton of the top people and not punish your staff. And then just be good. But there's other game development engines that can be used, or you can build your own. I understand somebody in the comments might say, Cal, it's really hard to build a game engine. I know it's hard. I'm saying there's tons of other options. Unity is not the only game in town. This isn't like with Twitter, where Twitter just keeps throwing its weight around. And you know, whenever they try to they release the next Twitter killer, it dies within a week because there's just not enough people to engage on it. Unity has shot itself in the foot. You cannot trust them anymore. That trust is gone. I don't know why they thought we're going to retroactively put all these things on. And hey, don't worry about the fact that you don't have a contract and Nintendo and all these other big companies are going to pay us money because Unity is dumb. Don't do it. Don't trust it. Don't use it. Nobody is going to want to... Last episode we saw that they were like encouraging you to run ads on your games. They also encouraged you to run their own AI so the developers could and the gamers could teach the AI so they could make more money off of it. And just offering like malware to keep track of all this stuff. It's just a load of massive stupid. Nobody's going to want to play a Unity game if it's got malware on it. No one's going to want to make a game with Unity Engine if you have to go through all these hoops and pay all this extra money. You've made the bar to entry so... But if a game blows up, you could wipe out and bankrupt a small developer on their first game. Now, this article talked about how they think that we're going to limit fees to 4% of a game's revenue for customers making... So you're only going to have to pay us $40K if you hit it big and get $1 million. That's still a lot of money, guys. This is not... We're not talking about Nintendo or Microsoft who aren't paying this fee and will have their lawyers kill you because they don't want to set that precedent. But guys, $40,000 on a small studio that makes it big? It's a lot of money. And nobody wants to actualize or normalize this behavior. I think this is really stupid. I don't think this is going to get better. The only thing Unity can do to get trust back is to fire the people who came up with this idea. I'm talking those 3 board members and that CEO. They gotta go and walk back everything. There's no middle ground. You burned the bridge. You have no bridge. Guys, let me know down in the comments what you think, and play more games. Maybe not Unity games in 2024, but games are awesome, and you deserve the awesome, and I'll see you next time.